Hello and welcome to Identirati Office Hours. I'm your host, Mike Schwartz, founder of Glue. Today is episode 216. And before we get started, a quick reminder, please follow IOH on LinkedIn or YouTube. The topic today is why know your agent frameworks fail AI security. And it might be something closer to what is Chirper all about. Our guest today is Richard Kersey, founder of Chirper. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you. Glad to be here and looking forward to talking to you.
So before we dive into the topic today, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I've been in engineering for a few decades now. Started when the internet kind of first came out. Been working on my own entrepreneurial stuff all that time. Ended up selling a business around there, and then worked for a few companies, and have since gotten back into entrepreneurial spirits, and have decided that there's a problem with the internet, and whenever there's a problem, that there's a business that needs to solve it. And so that's what I've done with chirper.com.
So we were talking a little bit about how identification works in social media today. We're just looking at our sort of mainstream social media platforms like an X or an Instagram or something like that. How does identification, human identification, work today?
Well, when they want to start making you accountable, so there's some places where there's no verification whatsoever. It's just sign up and you're in. But then they get to a point of growth where they have to start asking you to be more accountable for what you say online. And in order to do that, what they've all kind of gone towards is verification of your identity. So how do they verify it? With taking pictures of your ID, verifying your face, MFA, multi-factor authentication, and any number of privacy concerning issues that they try and dig into and make sure that they know who you are so that they can keep you accountable for what you say online and keep you from coming back if you break the rules.
And there's also been a lot of pressure on social media companies to treat under 18-year-olds differently. At first they said, we don't know who's under 18. And then it turns out that maybe they did. But what are some of the considerations, about age or other claims about people that we need to think about?
That's definitely something that every company has to keep in mind, because you got to protect your kids, right? And so there's many laws about that, and keeping the content viewable for people that are over 18 is hugely important, and not something that I and Chirper can really do. So it's not something I know a ton about, or how to keep it from keeping your age verification up. But we're more on the how do you know if someone's human side. So we're in that space.
So why are the current systems failing? So there's an army of bots, on social media. I think we're sort of immune or used to hearing, or what's been normalized if we hear that Facebook removed 10,000 accounts, or Instagram removed 3,000 accounts. We're like, oh yeah, sort of like, oh, there's been another password breach. So why isn't what they're doing today working?
Well, it's all reactive. It's all, once they see a problem, then they can remove you, and then what's the cost to get back in? It's the same cost you paid the first time you got a bot in, and it's just another step. Any bot is only a few steps away from getting into that network, because the value of being in there is so high. So because you're getting eyeballs on whatever content you're able to post. So any obstacle they put up to adding new bots to their network is just a quick obstacle that once the bot gets past it, they're going to infinitely reproduce that and have it followed up by thousands of bots right behind that. So it's all reactive. There's no kind of proactive approach at the beginning, and it degrades the quality of their content to the point where they start making it harder and harder for humans to get in, because instead of making it a better space for humans, what they're doing is let's make it harder for humans to get in here, and that just turns into this kind of feedback loop of, I put up all these obstacles, it makes it harder for humans to get in. Bots see it as just a blip on the radar, because once they get over that little blip, then they have 1,000 bots right behind them coming in. So I think that's where they're failing.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. So you really add friction, inconvenience the users, and you're saying that the bots don't care because they're pretty quick at doing it anyway. So you haven't really discouraged or really prevented the bots anyway, and you did really exact a price on the humans.
Exactly.
So tell us how Chirper got started and how you prevented the bots, and what are some of the challenges with your first approach?
Yeah. Well, we got started just because I was a normal user on any social media site, and everywhere you went, you saw people complaining constantly about, this is some bot skewing our agenda, has a spam or some corporate agenda they want to get out. It's a political thing that they have, their propaganda that they want to get out. And the bots come in and they just reinforce it, upvote each other, push everything to the top for the message they want to portray. And everybody's complaining about it. It became very obvious that there's more bot traffic than human traffic. And so it's like, if there's a problem, is there some way to solve it? And can there be a business around that? And what level can we do this at? And it came to, I was just basically trying to start a social media site for fun. I wanted to start a place where you could get in with very little friction, like no identity whatsoever. So how do you have anonymity? But then it became, well, how do we keep it from just being a spam farm, or, and that kind of thing. And so it just kept going down the road until I landed on this idea of, I can vouch for you that you're human. And something that no other site has is, if you end up not being human, then I should pay a price for that. And that's really the two-way accountability between multiple accounts is really the thing that doesn't exist on any other website.
So your reputation goes down if you recommend somebody and they turn out to be a bot farm.
Exactly.
And did you see that Black Mirror where they give everybody a rating? And your rating, if your rating goes down, you can't get into the hotel.
I think it was called the social score, probably something.
Yes.
Like that. Yeah.
Sounds a little bit like that. I've referred to many bot farms. My rating is down, and now I'm not allowed to talk to you.
Right. Well, the rating is the core issue there is the rating is based around, are you human or not? And so we're not going to punish you for not getting enough likes. It's more that are you doing bot-like behaviors? Are you in a group of lineage that everyone's upvoting the same thing, the same topic all the time, and you're all talking about the same thing, and you can have that kind of network effect where you can detect bots working together.
Right. So it sounds like your initial approach, though, so the challenge with this kind of business is, how do you get network economies of scale?
Of course.
And so Facebook famously started in the higher education space, because you need to get the activation energy so that you have sufficient, so that enough people could be vouching for enough other people. Your initial approach was, do you know Richard?
Yes.
That didn't really scale.
No, it does not scale.
And then your second approach was, okay, we're just going to open it up, and now anybody can register. But it sounds like you kind of fell into the same trap as Instagram, where they're like, hey, there's too much friction here. Not everybody can. You had weeks of for people have been requesting for weeks, and you hadn't gotten to them, and so then you said, I'm just going to open it up. It sounds like an Instagram decision, right? Okay, there's too much friction here. Let's lower the friction.
Kind of, in a way. We definitely were trading growth for quality. So we definitely had this idea that we're gonna grow slowly. We understand it's invite only. That means it's going to be slow. You're going to have this dead thing going on for a long time until you get enough invites in. So there's definitely the idea of we know this is going to be a slow thing, and we're trading that for the quality that we can get at the end. I'd like to say that most sites that let anybody in, what happens is they get a lot of activity going in the beginning, and then over time, just the quality of content keeps continuing to degrade over time. And so it just gets worse and worse and worse. What we're hoping is to put the friction at the start, make it a little harder to get in to begin with. And then over time, the quality of the content should improve rather than degrade. And that's what we're hoping. So that's kind of what this experiment is about in some ways too. One of the questions that come out of the experiment.
I'm a little skeptical of your vetting process because
Okay.
you had a bunch of people who emailed you and said, "Let me into Chirper."
Yes.
Did you video call with them all?
No.
How did you decide they were a person?
No. So we're letting in the
Did
beginning,
you
it was
review
just
their
kind of a
social
chat.
media?
It was just a chat with me. Basically what we're doing now, but not even video. Is just hello, I'm human, and the fact that they were even reaching out to me and talking to me via, I was on Slack, they were talking through the website. We're kind of like, let's get these first 5,000 people in. Is really what the point was there. Get something going so we have some kind of data that we can analyze and see. Look for bot activity. You can't really analyze a single bot activity. Well, I even say it better. I'll say we don't care if a single bot gets in. Like a single bot isn't going to push an agenda, isn't going to have a bunch of people working together. So if it's just a single bot that gets through your obstacles, that's not the end of the world. It's when you have a bot farm that comes in, that all work together, takes over your network, and starts pushing their own agenda all the time. That's what you want to detect, and that's what you really want to stop.
I guess you could say that your network is flying under the radar because it's not like there's any value there yet, right? Like, because it doesn't. So it's like, well, you can, it's not like Twitter or Instagram or something. So, but then again, I don't know. But these days, the agents are so smart. Maybe they're proactively like saying, "Oh, I see this on." Maybe the agents found your content first and were like, "Yeah, sign me up."
That would be
I don't know if you heard about the North Korean hackers, or not hackers. So in North Korea, there are programmers, talented programmers, who basically get kidnapped by the regime,
okay,
and forced to sell their labor, and on work platforms. And so it's just a way for the North Korean regime, to generate cash. So they're actually working. They're doing work. They're contributing. They're qualified, skilled workers. One of the red flags can be as they work too hard. They're working too many hours. Anyway, and North Korea used AI software to help and to help them pass basically video interviews. So they're generating the voice and the video image and background noise, and it's really hard to tell. And then they pick countries that it's hard to identity proof people in. And so it can be quite hard to actually tell the humans from the bots these days. On a chat interface, forget it. They're great at text. I don't know. It just seems very challenging. Is this something that's better outsourced to the government? Because typically governments have been in charge of this foundational identity, where you register a birth certificate, and then you use that to get other credentials here in the U.S. Is this a government job?
I mean, I wouldn't argue against that too hard, to be honest. That's not the end of the world to me. And I can definitely see how that might work, and what we had talked about before the show with having that authentication come with just a small piece of information. That'd be one way to do that. Yes, but I just want to bring you back to with a social networking site and with the problem we're looking at, which is like a Reddit, a Twitter, all those. You're not looking for single bots. That's just it doesn't matter. Like with the North Korea example, that's a single worker gets through in a job and they're doing work for you. That's a big deal. Like, but that's not like a social media site where they're making comments and posting links to places. So if someone from North Korea is getting in, infiltrating your business, they're getting all your private information, access to all of your back end systems, all your code and everything like that. Of course, that's a huge problem. But with social media, what we're just looking at is, can we detect a farm of bots? Can we stop from bots taking over the entire network?
And so, what have you learned so far?
That opening up more may or may not work. That we just recently opened up, like you said, took that Instagram decision, and we let basically we wanted to make it so it doesn't all go through me, because that doesn't scale, right? So the idea for scaling was everyone has to be invited. You're vouching for someone else. What we recently opened up was now the whole community can have a chance to vouch for anybody that comes in. So this is like a new test that we're doing where anybody can sign up, and then as you talk to the community, anyone in that community can say, I'm willing to vouch with my reputation that you're human, and they can just click the button and say, yeah, you're in. And once they do that, then you're linked together in a lineage, and that lineage has two-way accountability. So if this person turns out to be bad, it's going to hurt your reputation. If they turn out to be good, it's going to help your reputation. And if they start inviting other people, it all keeps your lineage being good.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that the accountability comes from basically, but how many people are you going to refer? It doesn't sound like this is. It seems like a lot of people would be at zero referrals. Yeah, especially if you don't enforce the "you must be referred" part. If you just open it up, then there's no reason to get referrals. So I don't know. I think that part of your experiment might have undermined your actual business value proposition.
That's actually a good point. I'm going to have to think about that one.
So I think LinkedIn doesn't do a bad job at this, though, to be honest. The one thing that LinkedIn does, so you're saying, okay, let's preserve anonymity. LinkedIn doesn't do that. LinkedIn makes you use your real name. And I don't see a ton of bot farms on LinkedIn. We're very active on LinkedIn, and we don't really see that the conversations are more niche, and so maybe the answer isn't anonymity. Maybe the answer is make people use their real name.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to go, and that's one way a lot of places have gone. The other part you want to ask is, are they having conversations that you have on places where you are anonymous? So is the content that you may want to talk about but can't allowed there? And so, and is there room for a place that you can have that conversation, where you're talking about whatever might be something you don't want linked to your name?
Yeah, there are times when you want to be anonymous. Okay, so we want to be anonymous. So how do we do that and make sure they're all humans? Is the question, and how do we prevent bot farms from overwhelming or taking over our conversations? And
really, do we even care? Is a good question. Like, we say we care, but do we really care about bots controlling our conversations? That's one of the questions we want to answer.
It's not clear that people do based on the results today. Like a lot of the AI Instagram generated content Is like, oh, you're like, oh, it's a guy saves a baby moose from a bear. It's
Yes, yeah,
totally AI generated, but then
100%.
people
Yeah.
like it. Um, so it's
Yeah,
not clear
and
to
they love the rage bait. They love the clickbait, and they react to it. They engage with it, and I agree. It's it may be that I'm wrong. It may be that bots should control, or not should, but will control our conversations because they're going to be great at putting out thousands and thousands of rage bait articles a day.
yeah. This idea of reputational score and introducing people, it has been tried numerous times, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
Never successfully. Um, there's a thing, I think it's called the first person network. I did a live stream about it, but that's had a number of iterations before. Um, but there's an idea of not only reputational score, but reputational recovery. Like, how do you get control of your account again? Well, if three people can vouch for me, maybe we can reconstruct a private key from that. Um, like we can have a launch key where we have two people combine cryptographic information and to create the output of that allows the creation of another key. So
Hmm.
we can do stuff like that. Um, and they never really take off, honestly. Um, I think because people are pretty generally just don't have time for to be. I think there would be a benefit, or it could be a competitive advantage for a social network to say this. The other area I hear about this a lot is in news.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a customer at Glue, or not at Glue, a community user at Glue, who's trying to create a new news source with people with basically verified humans, just
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, we want to make sure we're not getting the news articles of bot farms, for example. Um, and I don't know, it has been a hard sort of sell to the public, I think, in terms of getting any type, like what the value prop good enough for the public to actually change their behavior and culture. And so I
Well,
don't,
it may be sort of a pendulum kind of idea that has to happen. So as the content on these networks become more AI, become more bots, and that you start feeling that when you're there, you're doing nothing but reading non-feeling garbage output, you become kind of apathetic. You stop caring about what's there. And so you kind of fade away and don't go there anymore. And you end up in a different place. And maybe that place is going to be where there's more feeling, there's more realness, and there's more, humans actually talking to each other.
yeah, everybody misses the old days of Twitter and or the old days of some other social media platform when it was um, so do you use Google Wallet for payments?
Very rarely. I have probably one set up, but very rarely use it.
Oh, so that's an interesting question because I wasn't actually a big user of Google Wallets. I didn't really see the point of it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and um, and then at one point I started using it, and then I was like, oh no, this is great, because actually the NFC is stronger from my phone than from the little like card from the
Yeah.
plastic chip. Um, and I had all these vendors at the farmers markets, and I couldn't get my card to read. And then you have this thing with this powerful battery that really projects the NFC. I was like, oh, that's better. And then the other thing that convinced me was that if you lose your credit card, they can instantly reissue you one.
Yeah.
And if you're in Europe or traveling, that can really avert a nightmare. And also for buying fuel in Europe, in Europe, I always had this problem. Like they want a chip card, but I don't have a chip card. Or they want chip and pin, but I'm chip and signature because I'm the U.S. And therefore I can't buy gas at like 98% of the gas stations in Europe. Uh, so um, but I can present it from my wallet because
Okay.
that's actually meets the regulations because the unlock of your phone is considered your PIN. And
Okay.
so for all these reasons, I started using Google Wallet more for payments. Now I'm annoyed because actually the only thing the only piece of plastic I must carry is my driver's license.
Yeah. I mean, I use I don't use Google Wallet, but I use Apple, so it's
Apple
probably
Wallet.
the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what I meant. But so you use a wallet, you
Oh
use
yeah.
your phone wallet.
Yep.
Okay, just not Google Wallet.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. I should just say wallet. I just say Google Wallet because I'm an Android user.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those rare Android users out there. Um, But okay, so
Green
my
tech.
question was really around wallets because wallets present new opportunities. Now that we're seeing the ability to issue credentials to wallets,
Mm-hmm.
or governments issuing credentials to wallets, and wallets have more capabilities. In addition to having better batteries, they also um, can do cryptographic operations that your card couldn't do. And so specifically selective disclosure, like instead of when I share my license with you, you can see my date of birth. Ideally, I just want to prove to you that I'm over 18.
Yep.
And so we can do zero knowledge proofs like that, or we can do selective disclosure where maybe I'm just disclosing my name. Um, and So I'm wondering, do you think that perhaps there is a way to just better align instead of, I mean, it'd be a smaller market of early adopters and you'd have to find out. But do you think there's some type of solution in there where you use these new wallet-based credentials as a way to prove identity without releasing name?
It's possible. I haven't looked into it enough to really have a full opinion on that yet, so I can't really speak to it fully. But in what just we've talked about, like even prior to the call and just right now, it's the zero knowledge proof is. I think there's a place that's going to be doing something like that. It's kind of coming along, and the name is human.com. I don't really know what they're up to over there, but it looks pretty interesting. And they're probably going to be doing something that you're talking about there. And I really like the idea. So it's something I want to look into further, but nothing I can really speak to fully today.
Maybe that's some. I heard there's some blockchain ideas about human identity.
Well, that's how that was like the first steps in this was kind of treating it like a blockchain, like your lineage is your chain of trust. And that's how we came up with the whole TrustChain naming that we use for it today.
I thought anything blockchain was sort of out of vogue today.
Yeah. We're blockchain adjacent, not really.
Yeah. As long as it's not a what do you call those Web3? As long as it's not Web3.
NFTs.
A Web3 entity.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think I think I kind of get it. Maybe we should just go into last thoughts. Any other anything you want to leave us with? Next steps?
Well, come to chirper.com. That's CHIRPPER.com. Decide if you care about having a human conversation. Decide if it's worth putting a little extra friction into your social media life to do that. And once you do, maybe we can make the internet a better place.
Okay. And I just want to quickly announce the next episode. Rolf Linderman from OneSpan, formerly known as the company formerly known as Vasco, on passkeys. Rolf's one of the most experienced engineers from Knock Knock, and so anyway, it should be a good conversation about all things passkeys. Quick reminder: follow the live stream on Identity Office on LinkedIn or YouTube. Trying to get to 3,000 followers on LinkedIn, especially. And with that, I will say, Richard, thank you so much. It's been fun learning about Chirper and audience.